Thank you so much for joining me today for the Changing Your Story About Stress overview. This information cannot nearly cover every aspect of stress, but I hope that it opens your mind to some new angles on stress and is empowering for you. The information presented today should not replace the care of a licensed doctor, psychologist, therapist, or practitioner. This is to be used for educational purposes only and to aid you in your search for health and a healthy lifestyle. My name is Mary Lapp. I am a nutritional therapy practitioner and a transformational life coach, and I specialize in stress. This particular combination of certifications is perfect for stress because stress has a physiological factor, which I help people via nutritional therapy, and an emotional and mental factor, which I work on with the coaching, and that's what we're covering today. Within that emotional mental side, there are multiple angles to look at. The subject of stress is near and dear to my heart because of my own struggle with stress. As someone pursuing the healing arts, I knew what everyone was saying about stress, to journal, meditate, do yoga, and deep breathing, and all of those were really good and really helpful, and I encourage doing these. But I found that my core was still stressed, and it wasn't until I learned how to have a healthy stress response that my stress stopped being miserable. That doesn't mean I am perfect at stress. I still have to be intentional. But this information changed my story about stress, and I want to help change your story about stress too. So let's get started. Today we are going to talk about the emotional and mental side of stress. And I really want you to be the best version of yourself. So we will first learn about stress to disarm it, learn all about resources, which will make more sense later, find balance in giving and receiving, shift your perspective, and watch yourself grow. So let's start with disarming stress. Is stress always bad? No. Think about it when you are stressed. Your heart starts beating, right? This is blood going to your brain for clear thinking, and blood to your muscles for strength. That's good. Oxytocin is stimulated when you have a healthy stress response. Oxytocin is the hugging hormone that is stimulated when you connect with other people. We have all experienced how stressful situations can help you connect more quickly with others. A healthy stress response can really help you perform well. It is a good and natural response that we have available to us, and the effects of stress are good when we see stress as good. So what makes a stress response healthy in today's everyday life? It happens when you know that you have the resources to handle a situation. We have all experienced this. You know when you have a challenge that is manageable, your heart is beating, and you're a little warm, but you feel on top of the world, you're in the zone, and it's absolutely exhilarating. That's stress, folks. And we can be more intentional to make most of our stress responses like that. So, is stress always good? Well, no, of course not. We have all seen the research on the negative effects of stress, and it is true. An unhealthy stress response can undermine your health in every area. So, when does this happen? For starters, when we see the stress response is bad, and we stress about our stress. Not helpful. But mainly it is when you don't think you have the resources to handle the situation. It throws you into fight, flight, or freeze, which can sometimes be healthy, but only when you really honestly do need to fight, run, or freeze. This is unhelpful when you're taking a test, for instance. The fight, flight, or freeze prepares you for physical action, but not much for mental action. And there may be instances when you need to do this, but I would suggest that it would only be when we encounter, say, a cobra or a bear. Personally, I suspect that even a potentially dangerous situation with another human would be best served with a clear thinking when you believe you have your resources. You know you're having a negative stress response when your body contracts, especially your blood vessels, which puts pressure on your cardiovascular system. This is the harmful stress. It can also put you on the lookout for future threats, which can be appropriate in some situations, but not in most of our everyday stressful situations, hopefully. It is also not good to be isolated in your stress. Connections are important. And when you never get a break from it, even the best stress will keep you from falling asleep or digesting really well. Have you ever had a really wonderful dinner party that you worked hard to pull off? Or you were in a play that got a standing ovation? It was amazing, but it took a while to settle down after, right? We need a break from the best kind of stress, too. So, what do we want? We want a healthy stress response in moderation. This will feel like expansion, not contraction. Do you know what that feels like? If you haven't ever noticed it, just think about it over the course of your day, and it will very likely become apparent. Your body actually gets tense or is relaxed and open. We have talked about having the resources to handle the situation, which makes the stress response so much more pleasant. This is huge. Often we have more resources than we realize, so we will talk a lot about how to find them. Connecting with others, another resource, as is shifting our perception. And we want times of rest. For more information about a healthy stress response, read The Upside of Stress by Kenny McGonigal, PhD. Dr. McGonigal is a professor of psychology at Stanford University, and she's a lot more to say about stress. I highly recommend reading her book. Resources. Our first resource is actually the stress itself. When seen this way, it is expanding, and the increased blood flow can help you have clear thinking and keep you from rushing into fight, flight, or freeze. Allow the stress. Allow the clear thinking to help you be efficient and organized, and don't underestimate the power of your creativity. The human mind is massively creative, and yours is too. Look around the world at the things humans have done with their creativity. It's absolutely amazing. Have some trust in your creativity to help you deal with whatever challenge you're facing. Having energy is another big step. Part of the stress response often includes an adrenaline rush, which gives you energy. And if you feel like this physiological side to stress isn't working well for you, then look at my website for my nutritional therapy program, Hair Tissue Mineral Analysis. Awareness is a really great way to support your healthy stress response as well. We are going to learn about giving and receiving and shifting your perspective, having balanced emotions. Giving and receiving. We all give and we all receive, right? But do we do it well? We all want to be givers, and this is a beautiful thing. My typical client is very much a giver, but most of my followers have a really hard time receiving. And when they do receive, they don't energetically receive it well because they feel guilty about receiving. It's like we all have a receiving cup or a love tank or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes people give us something and we technically receive it, but it doesn't go into the tank because either it's not our love style, Google love languages for more information on that, or we just feel bad about it, which is devastating to the person giving. Giving and receiving in a healthy way produces gratitude in both directions with no resentment or guilt. And it fills the love tank, and it's a very expanding experience. Giving and receiving well exponentially expands your resources and aids in stress. Side note, when it comes to giving, we all want to give, but we can very easily do too much. Having a strong no can make your yes so powerful. When you think about saying yes to something, do the expansion test. Are you expanding or contracting? That is your easy answer. And if you really don't have a choice about it, say driving your child somewhere, how can you make it expansive? Maybe listen to a podcast on your way home or see that time as connection with your child. Shifting your perspective is so huge too. This is all about finding the positive intentions behind your stress and using the stress to lead you to what is really going on. Finding what the situation wants for you. Embracing your perfectly imperfect self. Realizing that when you stop resisting the present, it's so much easier to shift the situation. And balanced emotions are a happy result. This is where coaching comes in. It's very difficult to do this by yourself, but it's huge and you can make shifts. So, stress. My very simplistic formula for a healthy stress response is 1. Allow the stress and see it as an advantage. 2. Recognize the resources and expand. And 3. Shift your perception. I really hope that you found this information helpful. I believe healing is supposed to happen in community. I have a Facebook group called Change Your Story About Stress community. You can find a link to it on my website, maryblountlapp.com. I'm going to post different examples of having a healthy stress response so you can check it out. Please feel free to join us, and I would love to help you on your journey one-on-one. We all need a sounding board, a person to ask the right questions and hold us to our highest self. We just can't figure this all out by ourselves. I have coaches and support as well, and I think everybody needs one. Imagine what life would be like if you had healthy stress responses, the productivity and the positive relationships that would result from that. If you are interested in working with me, click on the Work With Me tab on my website and schedule a free consultation to talk about it. Thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful day.